Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, your everyday Rangers news channel, guys. If you never want to miss out on all the great daily content, then obviously hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and come and join in with the channel, guys. This is the channel for you. It's free. We don't hide behind a paywall. We don't hide behind a Patreon paywall. So please, obviously, hit that sub. So we're going to talk a little bit today about Jose Cifuentes. We're going to talk about John Lundstram. And obviously, we're going to start to look ahead to the upcoming Real Betis game on Thursday. So let's start off by talking about Jose Cifuentes. So, look, I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't think Jose Cifuentes has been the player we expected him to be. Now, when he was signed from LAFC, it was very much a conversation that was had around him that he was a game changer for Rangers. He was a player that would, be that box-to-box midfielder that we'd missed. He would be creative going forward. He'd have a key eye for a pass. He'd take on those shots that, those long shots that we were so badly missing. And I'll be wholly honest with you, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that from Jose absolutely at all. Now, Michael Beale talked about him being that game changer, and we haven't seen that at all. And I think, we can all kind of agree that in his time at Ibrox so far, Jose has been, well, quite frankly, disappointing with his performances, especially when we consider we paid £1.5 million for him. When we could have had him for nothing in January. It was very much an intention there within the club to bring him in early, to get him involved as early as possible. But look, I'll be honest with you. Look, I think part of it may be a fatigue. This guy's been playing football for a long time now. He hasn't had a break. The MLS season started before our season started, and he started the MLS season with LAFC and continued playing, and then obviously he came to us. So the guy hasn't had a break. He would have had a break in his off season around about sort of December, January, it would have been September time in America, but didn't get that. So is fatigue playing a part? Possibly could be. Now, as we know, he was sent off on Sunday. On Saturday. Sorry, apologies. He was sent off on Saturday against Dundee. Now, it's a challenge that has kind of, caused a great deal of debate amongst those who watch football. Dermot Gallagher, former Premiership referee, said that, in his opinion, it was a sending off, and that Clancy got it right in sending him off. Yet a number of analysts and pundits have said that, in their opinion, it was not a sending off. Where was Jose supposed to put his foot? Where was he supposed to, challenge the guy? It is a debate, and I'll be honest with you. I watched it back now a number of times. I've watched that back. There's no intent there. There is literally no intent on Jose's part to go and hurt that player. Now, for it to be serious foul play, there has to be an intent there to endanger the safety of your opponent. There was no intent there at all. Now, Rangers have decided to appeal this red card because, as it stands at this moment in time, Jose Cifuentes could play on Thursday against Real Betis. However, he would be unable to play against Aberdeen in the League Cup final on Sunday, which would obviously leave Rangers very, 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 very short indeed of options in central midfield, with the fact that Ryan Jack is injured, that Nicholas Raskin is injured, the fact that we're obviously missing Tom Lawrence through injury. The options there are severely limited. So much so that Dujon Sterling, who essentially is a fullback, came on and played in central midfield on Saturday against Dundee in the second half to try and shore things up in that middle. So, we are very short in that position. And yes, there are options in the youth team like Bailey Rice, Cole McKinnon, etc., etc. But, I think to risk them in a cup final would be folly, given the fact they haven't played any first team football. Philippe Clement very much talked about the fact that Rangers could appeal that decision in his post-match press conference when he talked about what Jose Cifuentes had said about the challenge. But it is now a fact that they will appeal the red card. Now, according to the reports on a number of media sources yesterday and this morning, including Sky Sports, it is suggested that the Scottish Premier League, the Scottish FA, will speed up that appeals process and will hear that appeal today, Tuesday, to see, obviously whether Jose Cifuentes will be available for that final. Now, Philippe Clement, when he spoke to the media on Saturday, said that Jose told me he just wanted to block the ball and the striker tackles through and there's contact. So, it very much is a case that, Philippe Clement, I think he's taking the player's word for it, that it isn't a fact, that it isn't a red card, that it isn't a serious offence. But, Jose Cifuentes is, I think, it's a situation where we do need him. We do need that player to come in and play in central midfield, especially, as the case is, who else do we have in that position with Raskin out, with Jack out, with Lawrence out? Do we go with Dujon Sterling or do we go with even Leon King, who's played there for the B team? Or do we drop Todd Canwell back into that 10 role, but then into that 8 role? But then that questions who plays the 10 role? Is it Lammers? But Sam Lammers has been absolutely dreadful this season. Look, I'll be absolutely honest with you. I have watched it back. I don't think it's a red card. I think it's a yellow card at worst. And I think, hopefully that appeal will be successful and it will be overturned. And Jose Cifuentes will be available on Sunday for the team. Yes, he hasn't made the best of starts, but I honestly thought on Saturday he'd started to look a little bit back to what he was in terms of his ability to use the ball, his tackling ability. He did look a lot better in that first half against Dundee, and I'm hopeful that that he can come in, that appeal will be successful. Because if it isn't, like I said, who do we start there on Sunday? Who plays there in that League Cup final? Is it Dujon Sterling, who's essentially a fullback? Or is it Leon King, who has got a limited number of first team minutes? Or is it Todd Canwell? But then do you diminish the influence of Todd Canwell by dropping him back into that role? And also, do you diminish the protection for the back four? Because Canwell obviously is not a defensively minded midfield player. He's very much a offensively minded midfield player. So, it is a complicated situation that Philippe Clement faces going into Sunday's League Cup final. A game that we really must win, a game that, could put a trophy in the cabinet, that could really launch this season and I think kick us on to really contend with that lot from across the city in this league and in the Scottish Cup as well, in all 3 Scottish domestic competitions. Okay, let's talk a little bit of John Lundstram. Now, John Lundstram, for me, look, I've criticised John Lundstram in the past. You know that I have. I've slaughtered him in the past. I thought his performances last season were poor. I thought some of his performances at the start of this season were very poor. But I'll be honest with you, he has seemed to be a player that has been essentially reborn under Philippe Clement. The responsibility Clement seems to have given him as a bit of a leader on the park. The fact that he seemingly has become a regular starter for Philippe, I think has sort of imbued some confidence into John and got him playing some really good football. Yes, there are still times of sloppiness. Yes, there are still times of giving the ball away or the odd stupid tackle. But look, that is John Lundstram. That is who he is as a player. I'll be honest with you. If Lundstram didn't do that, then he would be playing again English Premier League football, probably in one of the top 4 teams. That's the level he is currently at. Now, I get what some fans are saying, not a lot of fans, but some fans are saying in terms of the uplift in his performance is very much around him wanting a new contract. All players, when they go into that final phase of their deal, seem to up their ability. Now, there was a player called Emmanuel Adebayor, I don't know if you remember him, but he was a player who, when he was playing for a contract, looked like an absolute world beater. The moment he was given a contract, he became more of a carpet beater. So I do understand that there is very much a concern amongst Rangers fans that Lundstram is only performing as he is because he wants a new deal. Had he not had that pressure, would we be seeing what we're seeing this season? That is, that is a genuine concern. I understand that. Now, John Lundstram, it seems, has changed his tone over a new deal at the club. Now, there's obviously strong rumours regarding him, regarding Borna Barisic, Kemar Roof, and their futures at the club, Ryan Jack, who will all be out of contract next summer. Now, Borna, there's been rumours about him being offered a 2-year deal. There's been rumours about, no rumours about Kemar Roof at present. There's been rumours Jack won't be offered a new deal due to his injury history, and Philippe Clement very much getting his hair off about this injury plague that seems to have hit Rangers. At the moment, There's no real talks about anything that's been offered to John Lundstram. Now, previously, when he was asked about it, he talked very much in terms of the fact that he wanted to stay at the club, that he wanted to be with Rangers, that he wanted to, extend his deal and finish his career here. It seemed that he was very pro staying here. I mean, what did he say? He said, I'd love to stay here for as long as the club wants me, but there's nothing at the minute. I love the club and I've never shied away from that. I'd love to stay, but there's nothing at this moment in time. Now, he was asked about that contract situation by the media very recently, I think it was yesterday, actually. And he replied, that's just between me and the club. It's personal between me and the club, yeah. Which, goes against what he's been saying previously. The fact that he has been overly positive about a new deal and wanting to stay here to, it's between me and the club. I'm not saying anything else. Does suggest that perhaps there's nothing there at this moment in time. Perhaps the club aren't keen to keep him. Look, I understand that there will be a whole different range of opinions on John Lundstram and whether he should be kept at Rangers next season. He does seem to have been tarred at times with that brush of being a serial bottle job, a serial loser, someone who is very much, involved in Rangers' past, somebody we need to move on from. And I get that. I understand that. There is an air of failure around this club since 55, that players have bottled situations that they needed to step up in, that they've gone missing when they needed to step up. Again, that is something we do need to address in January and this summer. And there does need to be an overhaul of this squad. But it does seem that Philippe Clement has very much placed his faith in John Lundstram. I mean, you've just got to look at the amount of times he's asked him to start, about the fact that, that he has very much, looked to John Lundstram to be a leader on the park, someone who drives that midfield forward. And at times he's been the best midfielder, for Rangers. Personally, I think it's a situation we need to assess as we get closer to January. If Lundstram's performances continue to be of a high level, performance on the cup final on Sunday, then yeah, certainly offer him something. But if we see a fall off in his form again, if we see some sloppiness, if we see some giving the ball away in stupid situations, getting himself booked in ridiculous situations, then I do think it is time that we moved on from him. You know me, I've criticised him in the past, but I very much think at this moment in time, he has been one of our better players. And you've got to kind of praise him for that. You've got to pick up on that. But like I said, there is a concern that he's only doing that because he's trying to get that new deal. That is obviously always an issue. Well, guys, let me know what you think. Should Lundstram get a new contract? Let me know in the comments down below. Guys, the channel keeps on growing, so please obviously hit the sub. Help us to keep on building this channel up to that target of 4K subs by the 31st of this year. Guys, this channel is dedicated to bring you all the latest news, views, and updates. And we brought you a video yesterday regarding Dujon Sterling and his kill zone. We talked about the fact that Philippe Clement had asked them to play with a winning mentality. They'd asked them to play with this, stepping into this kill zone and destroy the opposition before they even walked out of the tunnel. And I think that is very much, the mentality we want from this Rangers team. Obviously, check out that video if you want some more information on that. Now, we're obviously building towards Thursday's game against Real Betis. We look at that game and look, it's a game that is going to be probably the toughest of these upcoming 7 games towards the 2nd of January in that Kilmarnock game. It's probably the toughest game on paper against a very good Spanish side, against a Spanish side that sits 7th in La Liga. Now, I understand the doubts that Rangers fans have over this fixture, after the fact we lost, and we drew with Aris Limassol, probably the poorest team in the group. There is a real fear that we won't be able to compete with a team of the caliber of Real Betis. But wouldn't it just be a Rangers thing to go and actually win that game? Wouldn't it be just a Rangers thing to struggle against the poorest team in the group, but pull out a performance against one of the best teams in the group? So very Rangers. It is a game that I feel that, we've talked very much about the fact that analysts have talked about the fact that Rangers need to perhaps, go for a more conservative approach. But look, the Spanish league is a slow, technical, tactical league. It is a league that is very much around possession of the ball, is very much around passing the ball around, is very much around keeping the ball and slowing the tempo, being defensive and holding on to the ball. There is not really a attacking ethos there. Now, for me, one of the things we need to do is set them, really put them off their regular kind of way of playing. And that is by hitting them from minute one, going after them, attacking them. Going in there with a 3 at the back or a 5 at the back or a 5 in midfield, to me, would just be counterproductive. Giving them the ball and allowing them to play would be the wrong message, 100%. For me, it's a case of going out there, hitting them, attacking them from the very first whistle onto the very last whistle, and putting them under pressure. That is the only way we are going to get a result in Seville on Thursday night. Right, guys, obviously look out for the podcast coming up tonight. Me and Laura Hatton of TikTok fame will be talking all things Rangers here on the channel. Please come and join us for that around at 7:35. It'd be great to get your thoughts, comments in the live chat. Obviously, hit the sub, ring the notification bell. It does help the channel to grow. And 2 things I always ask of you guys on the way out: smash the like, and number 2, please never forget, we are the people.